Night tonight, or evening tonight, I'd like to introduce our Superintendent of Schools, Brad Ritchie, who has a few words for us.
All right, everybody, the pressure's off. I'm not even going to get up on stage. My remarks are going to be brief. Welcome. For those of you that are local, welcome to Milton Union High School. Welcome back. And for those of you who made a long trip to be here, safe travels, I hope, and welcome back to Milton Union High School. This is an event I started here in 2016, so the first Hall of Fame induction ceremony for me was early in 2017. I was so surprised and pleased at how well run the event is, and just how interesting it's been now over the course of several of these events to hear the stories of the inductees and hear them be celebrated and their accomplishments. It's really a celebration of our high school and our district in totality, and not just the athletic program, because they remember so many folks that have mentored them and their experiences in the classroom and people that brought them along. So it's really a fantastic and such a well-run program. So for anyone who has had anything to do with this program, so the committee, the volunteers, the folks that help decorate, the athletic department, Doc Ginn is wonderful on the mic. I mean, that is the guy that you want emceeing this program. So just a fantastic job to all. It kind of is the season, right? So for those of you that know me a little bit, know that I came from a small town about a third of the size of West Milton, Utica, Ohio, home of the Redskins. Go Redskins. They just had their Hall of Fame induction ceremony last night, and I ran 3 years cross country and 4 years of track, and my cross country and track coach was inducted last night. Brett Cox, who went to the University of Cincinnati and had several state qualifiers in track and cross country. And it's just one of those things that you look back on something like that, and he was a teacher when I went to school at Utica. He was my coach. I knew him. So I owe a lot to him, and he has created a legacy over the years. So I would imagine that several of you have a lot of the same feelings, right? So I went to school with that person. That person was my coach. That person was my mentor. She was my teammate. I remember what he did on the field or on the court or on the sideline. So it's this night, I mean, we celebrate them, but we also celebrate, it's this nostalgic for us too. I mean, there are memories for us that are very pleasant, what we remember. So enjoy the evening, kind of be present in the moment. I think it's going to be a great evening, and I look forward to what comes next. Thanks for being here.
Well, once again, good afternoon. Welcome to the 15th Annual Milton Union High School Hall of Fame induction ceremony. And as I say every year, for the past 15 years, it's my great honor to be up here for all 15 inductions, including our 8 charter members back in 2005, and then 56 more deserving athletes, including our 4 that we're inducting today, to make a total of 64 great Bulldog athletes currently in our hall. All 11 sports that are currently supported by our school are represented in the Hall of Fame. Basketball is the most commonly played sport among the Hall of Famers, represented on the resume of 42 current Hall of Famers. Football, baseball, softball, and track are the next most common sports represented on their resumes. 50% of the current Hall of Fame members, their impact came prior to 1980. Conversely, 50% of the Hall of Fame members' impact came after 1980, which seems to be a pretty good distribution. To some of us, 1980 doesn't seem too long ago, but it was 40 years ago, so sorry. So anyway, I'd like to introduce a couple members of our high school administration. If you're with the high school administration, could you all please stand up? Our assistant principal and our principal and our athletic director, Mark Lane, Jessica Limon, Mr. Roth back there. Thank you guys for being here. Our Board of Education, I just saw one of our, Lori Ginn, Parsons, and, Doug's here. I didn't see Doug. Doug and I were just at the girls' basketball game about 10 minutes ago, so thank you guys for coming. At this time, I'd like to recognize all of the Hall of Famers who are in attendance. So I'm going to read the names of those who are in attendance, and if you would please stand up, kind of give a wave to the crowd so everybody knows who you are. If I miss you, I'll come back at the end and you can tell me that I missed you. Starting off first, Melissa Marshall Vance. Steve Huffman. Terry Tyson. Sally Dickinson. Ron Berner. There he is. Kenny Beard. Dave Fine. Lori Kinnison Meyer. Kim Berner Dorman. Clint Nagel. Jane Winters Bickley. Rusty Berner. Mitchell Evans. Kyle Gurlio. Travis Hobbs. And Ryan Paul. We have some Hall of Famers that we'd like to recognize posthumously. I'll read their names. Ken Hemrick, William C. Ginn, represented by his wife Dorothy Ginn, Bill Fox, Charles Fox, Watt Farrar, Carl Broombaugh, David Kripe, Ron Peel, Ed Lindensky, represented by Carolyn Lindensky, Dick Overla, Ralph Hildebrand, Bill Carnes, Rex Warner, and Sharon Paul, represented by Gene Paul. Now on to the introductions. To the newest Hall of Famers, I'm going to say a few things about you all, and if any of them are incorrect, you're welcome to correct me, but don't feel like you have to. Our first honoree today comes to us from the class of 1972, Bill Hammond. One of the perks I have as Master of Ceremonies is when I get an opportunity to talk about someone who was one of my teammates, and Bill was one of my teammates. He was a senior on the football team when I was a sophomore, and I was totally in awe of him. He was everything to that team. He was a running back, a defensive back, a kicker. He even took some snaps at quarterback. There were games when Bill never left the field. He assembled a great football career while at Milton, ending his career 5th on the career rushing yardage list and 5th on the career scoring list. At the time of his graduation, he had recorded the second highest single season scoring total, scoring 128 points in 1971. He led the Bulldogs in rushing that year, and with fellow Hall of Famer Dave Fine, became one of the first 2 teammates to ever run for 1,000 yards in the same season, 2 players. He was also a first-team All-Esther McGill running back that season. In track, he was a versatile and talented performer, holding the unusual combination of both the school record for the discus throw and shot put and the record for the high hurdles, all of which he held for over a decade. He also held a single season and career points scored record in track and was Milton's most valuable runner in 1972. Following his Milton career, Bill played football at Austin Peay State University in Clarksville, Tennessee from 1972 to 1975. Ladies and gentlemen, Hall of Famer Bill Hammond.
Thank you, Dr. Billy. I appreciate that. I will be pretty brief, because I normally am, but I'd like to thank the Hall of Fame Committee for nominating me. Really appreciate that. I'd also like to thank my mother and my father, because without good genes, it's pretty hard to be a good athlete. You can work as hard as you want, but you got to have good genes. Dad's dad was a Hall of Famer for Logan, Ohio's high school. He was a good football player, and we've actually got an old photo from a newspaper of him all dressed up in his gear. Mom actually was a field hockey player at Miami. And of the two, between mom and dad, mom was by far probably more athletic than father was. She also played golf and tennis, and she did that until 5 years before she passed. My brother Jim, he played tennis and basketball and went to a school in Indiana and played all 4 years there for basketball. And she reminded me, she not only was cheering, she was playing basketball, she was playing volleyball, and she played tennis. She was pretty athletic as well. And my little brother Rob, he played tennis and basketball also. So, you know, genetically speaking, we had it and we used it and we had fun with it. And it was great to do it at Milton Union. Some of the notes I've got basically are to thank, and I was reminded of this from Joe Wilson, who called me and said he wouldn't be able to come, that any back is not worth anything unless he's got a good line in front of him. And he's absolutely correct about that, and we had a stellar line. They did a great job for us. It really made all the difference, and it was very evident when I went to Austin Peay where the line was not that good. Just what that meant, because you really got the crap beat out of you. It was tough. Some of the things the coaches had helped me with, really, Watt was a field general. He was controlling not only the team, but he was also controlling his herd of coaches, which was Coach Weiss, Dick, and Bob Oberla. And if you've ever known or been around any of those guys, that was a handful on itself, not just counting the players. The coaches were very unique. Dick Overla, the main thing, I mean, he was the backs coach, so obviously I worked with him a lot. Main thing I remember about him was when we'd be out early or late in the summer doing our two-a-days, and you'd be just busting it as hard as you could. He would call you over. I mean, you're just sitting there panting, and he had to tell you something. Now, Dick's 5'4". I'm 6'2". I'm not real tall, but he'd grab your face mask and pull you down to his level. And after he got done spitting in your face, telling you, you know, what you were doing wrong or what you need to correct, he'd kind of turn around, go like that, and go, "Show me your hand, show me your hand." You'd open your hand, and he'd put his chaw at the back in it. And then he would just laugh hilariously. That was a treat for him. After about 3 times, you figured out, don't put your hand out. It's not worth it. Not worth it. Lester Whitehead, he was the track coach, and I truly, truly admire Lester. He really helped me to not run through hurdles, but actually go over them. And in doing that, it cut a lot of time off my time. It was a good tip. He also was very instrumental in taking, I think there was 3 or 4 of us my year that he took around to small colleges to help them see if they would want to go there and could possibly get a scholarship there. That led to me going to Austin Peay, Doug Studebaker going to Austin Peay, Scott Strain going to Austin Peay. That was all through Lester Whitehead and his efforts just as a good guy to help take care of his players. He was an honor to work for as an athlete. I started trying to think of interesting things I could say that would be correct for this audience from the past, and I came up sadly short. because I've been in business 42 years and PC has been beaten into me with a sledgehammer. So there's not a whole lot of examples that I can give. We did have a lot of fun at the library. I don't think Scotty worked there or Doug, but I worked there for a little while, but it was as a bouncer because it wasn't really a library, it was a bar. So anyway, that was fun at school. The only regret I really have, and this is kind of a jab, and it's not meant to be hateful or anything, but Terry, if you would have lateraled me the ball, we would have scored, and we would have beat Northmont my senior year. Just a thought. That's all I got. Thank you so much.
Our second honoree today is Monica Grillo, class of 1982. Monica was a talented three-sport athlete, winning 11 varsity letters in volleyball, basketball, and softball. In softball, she was a four-year letterman and her team's MVP in 1982. In volleyball, in addition to being an aggressive and spirited player, according to her teammates, she was a two-time All-SWBL performer, was her team's MVP and Spirit Award winner in 1981. At the time of her graduation, only one other player in Milton history had ever played in more victorious matches than Monica. As a Milton basketball player, under her Hall of Fame coach, Sally Dickinson, I should say also, because Sally also coached her in volleyball, she was a three-time All-SWBL honoree and led her team to 59 victories during her varsity time. She was this team's MVP in 1982 and ended her career second on Milton's career scoring list behind only Hall of Famer Diana Broombaugh-Finfrock with nearly 700 points scored. Monica always seemed to draw the attention of the officials in basketball because of her intensity and determination. I think I'm putting that mildly, but intensity and determination, let's stick with that. Which often lead to her spending time on the bench in foul trouble. And this leads to a school record, another one you hold, Monica, which is the most disqualifications, which, to those who don't know, that's fouling out. In fact, Monica fouled out in more games than any boy has ever fouled out. Yeah. She continued her volleyball career at the University of Dayton, where she was selected the Female Scholar Athlete of the Year in 1986. Ladies and gentlemen, Hall of Famer Monica Grillo.
Well, work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard. Thank you, Dr. Ginn, for that amazing introduction. Hearing those words and receiving this honor, it is really uplifting. I'd like to thank the Athletic Hall of Fame Selection Committee and the members who worked so hard to make today special for us. I am happy to be back home with much of my family, several of my teammates, and coaches, and I share this award with all of you. I'd also like to thank the committee for inducting me after my little brother, Kyle. Kyle followed me all throughout the school years, so inducting him first and having me follow him for once was a real self-esteem boost for him, so thank you for that. Actually, I'm just kidding. What's hard about following Kyle this time is, if you were here 2 years ago, he gave an incredible speech. So this makes it a little bit more pressure-filled for me. I want to make a special call out to my son, Antonio. As with all young children, they can't imagine parents having a life before them, but it does happen. And these things are true about me, even that fouling out part. I'm very proud of you, Antonio. Congratulations to my fellow Hall of Fame inductees, Bill and Jason. I hate running, so to be named most valuable runner is beyond my comprehension. And Ken, playing 1 year of football and making all-league, it's a great job, gentlemen. Okay, so receiving this award has caused me a lot of months of reflection. and reflecting on what really happened to lead up to this moment. Do you remember the book, or at least the title of the book, All I Really Need to Know I Learned in Kindergarten? Many of the lessons in that book ring true, especially the lessons about taking a nap every afternoon and that warm cookies and milk are good for the soul. Those lessons I absolutely agree with. But the title of that book is definitely not true for me. For me, the more appropriate book title would be All I Really Need to Know I Learned During My Time at Milton Union High School. Both academically and athletically, I learned that hard work, preparation, follow-through, and smiling when life is hard were keys to being the person and leader that I wanted to be. I'm not successful at being that person all the time, that's for sure, ask my son. But I learned the importance of those lessons right here at Milton Union. Like many of the alumni here, like all of the alumni here, I had some wonderful teachers in the classroom. They pushed me to want more and expect more from myself. They pushed me to apply to the Hugh O'Brien Youth Foundation Leadership Seminar. Being selected to represent Milton Union High School at the state seminar in Columbus, and then being selected from there as one of 2 Ohio representatives to the Hobie International Seminar at UCLA was life-changing for me. I encourage the administration and any freshmen and sophomores at any school who are listening to this to explore that opportunity through your guidance counselor's office. I guarantee you it will change your life also. Academics and Hobie were only part of the equation for me, however. An even bigger part was learning right here in the gym and on the fields at Milton Union. I had wonderful, wonderful teammates in every sport I played. Some of those teammates are here tonight. Lori, Shelley, Jenny, Karen, Jane, Marcel. These ladies showed me how to be a member of a team, how to lead, how to have fun, and how to be better. I mean, have you ever felt the elbows of Lori Kinnison-Meyer under the basketball hoop as she is trying to position herself for a shot? Have you ever tried to keep up with Jenny and Shelley in practice when we were running the infamous sevens? Have you ever had the long arms of Jane or Karen rip a rebound right out of your hands? Have you ever tried to catch a throw from Marcel? Being a part of the team with these ladies and all the others was incredible, and I share this honor with all of you. My coaches, Sally and Margie, and those who have gone before us, Sharon Pinkerton and Sharon Paul, were amazing, pushing and rewarding and challenging and encouraging us to be better. Amazing. We were just speaking a little bit before this about the many hours and hours and hours you spent not only in the gym, but also outside of the gym preparing practices. Amazing. Showing us how to compete and win with grace, and how to compete and lose with grace. These are truly life lessons, and they were lessons that I used competing in high school, college, and for many, many years after college. Sally, especially, I thank you. I share this award with you and with all my coaches. All that said, the biggest lessons for me were learned by following the example of my mom and dad and siblings. My siblings, like yours, are all accomplished athletes. Kyle and Randy are here today, along with my siblings Doug, Kim, and Chris. They showed me what could be on the field by working hard off the field. There was a time, many decades ago, that I thanked my parents for their incredible example of hard work. And then I told them it was a curse, because working hard is really hard work and is really tiring. But I wouldn't change that for the world. Thank you, Mom, for that example and for making the time to be present at my games during high school. Your sacrifices for the benefit of myself and for the rest of the family were noticed. They may not have been appreciated then, but they're definitely appreciated now. A special shout out to God for the many blessings He has bestowed upon me and my family. Faith and trust in God make this possible for me. And finally, yes, finally, a shout out to my outfit today. Little ditty for you. What is black and white and red all over? With a nod to Scoot Kugler, it is not a newspaper. It is a Milton Union Bulldog. Go Dogs. Thank you.
All right. But before we go on, did everybody get their free coronavirus screening? I was telling someone earlier, I'm calling it the Kung flu. I knew that wouldn't work. Next up is Jason Moore from the class of 1991. Jason earned 9 varsity letters during his Bulldog career in soccer, basketball, and track. In track, Jason was a member of 2 record-setting relay teams, one of which, his 3,200-meter relay team, was a state qualifier. He was chosen his team's most valuable runner in 1991. As a Bulldog basketball player, he was an All-Southwestern Rivers Conference selection. He ended his career in the top 30 of MU scoring. This is remarkable because his career scoring total at the end of his junior year was 13 points. He ended up with 445. Jason set MU records for three-point field goals made in one season with 62 during his senior year. With his Hall of Fame teammate Clint Magel, Jason led the 1991 team to a district championship and a regional semifinal berth, that's the Sweet 16, one of only 6 times that's happened in Milton Union history. In soccer, Jason was his team's captain and was all SRC and played in the district All-Star game. After high school, he attended the University of Findlay as a scholarship player, where he became a 4-year starter, a 3-year captain, and the Oilers MVP in 1994. Ladies and gentlemen, Hall of Famer Jason Moore.
Thanks, Doc. First, I need to thank the Hall of Fame committee for the nomination. It is a great honor, and I'm glad to be here this afternoon. Glad you all came. I'd also like to thank the other inductees, the newest members of the Hall of Fame. They're up here on the stage. I need to thank all my friends and family that are here, and also my late parents. Wish they were here to see this. I'm sure they'd be proud. For all their support in my athletic career and through my life here in Milton and my career at the University of Findlay in athletics. Everybody's been such a great support, and I appreciate it. I also need to thank my older brother and my older sister who are here tonight. Older brother Steve and older sister Linda, for putting up with me for all those years, for all those hours and hours of basketballs and soccer balls bouncing on the kitchen floor and off the roof and in the driveway and all the dents I put in your cars. I apologize for that. Also, those Saturday morning epic Nerf basketball games that we had in our younger years, Byron and I on Saturday mornings just going at it, and you guys are trying to sleep, so I apologize for all those times. I also need to thank and talk about, as some of the other inductees have also talked about, all the coaches that we had. This is very important. Without them, we wouldn't be here. Coaches and assistant coaches, and those around the athletic program in Milton over the years, at least when I was here, and I'm sure some of you were here as well. All the way from a guy by the name of Larry Manley, who's also a Milton alumni, who was our 8th grade basketball coach. Larry was unique, and he was a basketball coach that had us in the 8th grade and started to develop us as players and young men. He taught us the importance of hard work, teamwork, and for some of the guys here, you can vouch for what I'm saying, the painful meanings of the words skin drill, mercy drill, and the ability to take a charge correctly in the paint, which Doug Thompson perfected, by the way. Good job, Doug. And Larry, Coach Manley, he was also not happy at the end of each practice unless one of us on the team was either bleeding or puking in the bathroom. And that's the fact. And that happened a lot. My soccer coaches, Walt Slade and Scott Molfender, they were some younger coaches that brought new style and energy to the Milton soccer program, and they taught us how to win and taught us how to be successful. So I appreciate their input and their development in my soccer career. Also, our Hall of Fame coaches in track, Kenny Beard, Dickie, Pat, and Greta. You know, I've told this story at least 100 times, and I can honestly say, I know for 100% truth, that Mike Rohr, Coach Rohr now still uses this story as a recruiting tool, and it seems to work pretty effectively. That the only reason I joined the track team was to meet girls. So I know Mike still uses that. But our coaches and our group of guys that ran saw a promise in our abilities, I think, in an early freshman year. And track almost became an obsession for me. And it was arguably probably my most successful sport in high school. Winning races, some championships, setting some records, and being able to run at the state meet at the Horseshoe in the 4x8 relay was something special. Some consider track an individual sport when you talk to them. However, I believe I can speak to my teammates anyways, that all those hours and seasons that we spent together on the track and running those trails back in the woods that still exist today, it was undoubtedly a team, and it was a great team. And our coaches had a great deal to do with that, so I appreciate that. Thank you to all you. Our basketball coach, Mark Tyson, who's here. Coach Tyson's knowledge of the game of basketball was evident in every practice and every game that we had. His passion for the game and his players were unmatched. And of course, if you ever watched Coach Tyson coach us or watch our team play, when we screwed up, Coach Tyson's red face and his red head was also unmatched. We're going to see if we get that going today, right, Coach? So, quick story, there he is. A quick story about Coach that kind of illustrates what I'm talking about and who he is. So my senior year, we were playing a team from Dixie. And that year, Dixie had a prolific scorer. His name was Derek Sizemore. He was putting up all kinds of numbers. He could shoot from anywhere in the gym. He was taking shots as soon as he got off the bus. He was just launching them. So we played them pretty close, and Derek had a really good game against us, but I believe it was towards the end of the third quarter. The game was still tight, and Sizemore was walking the ball up the court to take the last shot at the end of the quarter, and he was taking his time. He happened to be on my side of the defense we were playing, which was zone at the time, so he waited. He decided to make his move. The clock was running down, and he made his move, pulled up just at the edge of the three-point line, and he went up to take a shot, but I was able to knock the ball out of his hands. Luckily enough, the ball bounced and went towards the sideline. It was going towards the scorer's tables, if you remember the old gym, right there on the sideline. And we both charged after it, and I dove, and I saw that there was still some time left, so I didn't want them to have an out-of-bounds play, so I just hit it and dove and slid and knocked the ball to the end of the court so the time would run out, and we could, go on to the fourth quarter. Well, when I got up and ran back to the bench, I saw Coach Tyson's face, bright red. His head was bright red. I thought, oh crap. What did I do? What did I do? But to my disbelief, as we sat down on the bench, and I remember this vividly in my memory, and it still follows me today, we sat down and he looked at us, he crouched in front of us like he always did, and his eyes were watering up with tears. And a quote said, "I would take one of you guys any day over 100 to him." That's the kind of coach he was, the person that he is. And we all appreciate that then, and even more now. So I appreciate that, Coach. So there's so many great memories that we all have here playing at Milton sports. But more importantly, and probably most importantly, at least in my book, that there's so many great friendships and relationships that we all built. They were developed a long time ago and still exist today, even 30 years for us, removed from our playing days. The class of 1991, a lot of the guys that I played with and teammates are here tonight, and I think the class of 1991 was unique and special in that way for some reason. We not only played for the school, we played for each other, we played for our coaches, and we developed pretty close relationships that still exist today. All the successes that we had, our class had, on the fields of play, in the court, and the track, the league championships, the district championships, state competitors, the records that we were able to break, and even a homecoming football game, a victory over an undefeated Versailles football team that was the eventual state champion that year. We beat them. Even after all those things, our class was close, remained close, which I believe is rare. The guys out here, we've been able to graduate together, go to college, see each other go to college, move away, move back, start our families, be involved in each other's weddings and our lives, see our kids grow up, see our kids play sports, and some of them even graduate. I think that's pretty special. So I want to thank you guys for being here and sharing this with me. It means a lot. And again, thank you to the committee, and thank you all for being here.
Well, Kenny, someone always has to have a tough act to follow. Our fourth and final honoree today is Ken Battist in the class of 2006. An extremely versatile athlete, Ken earned 7 varsity letters in football, basketball, and baseball. Ken was a latecomer to football, playing only during his senior year, but what a year it was. Combining with his Hall of Fame teammate Mitchell Evans, Ken became the very first Milton player to surpass 1,000 receiving yards in a season and was selected first team All-SWBL. In basketball, he was a spring front court player and a 2-time All-SWBL performer, and ended his career in the top 25 in scoring and the top 5 in career rebounding. As a Bulldog baseball player, Ken was selected to the SWBL first team and was League Player of the Year in 2006. He continued his baseball career at Eastern Michigan University and was a first team All-Mid-American Conference outfielder in 2011, batting .324 and leading the MAC in doubles that season. Ken has also been a professional athlete, participating for the DC Brawlers in the Pro Grid League, a fitness league with competitive activities similar to CrossFit. Ken's team won the league in 2014 and 2015, and in addition, Ken also participated in Stone Cold Steve Austin's Broken Skull Ranch competition on CMT. He was also a member of the U.S. team in the inaugural International Functional Fitness Federation, with his team taking first place over 8 other countries. Ladies and gentlemen, Hall of Famer Ken Battist.
Thanks, Doc. First, I just want to thank my wife. She has stood by me in all the athletic endeavors, and all of those have taken time away from my family, and she's always been very graceful and always supportive, so I thank you for that. Also given me 2 beautiful children, so thank you most of all for that. Thank you to the Hall of Fame committee. Thank you for the nomination. For everyone that's come and supported us and the inductees, thank you. My other inductees, thank you. Thanks for coming, congratulations. I think from the time that I knew that I was getting in till like yesterday, everyone asked me, what are you going to talk about? What are you going to talk about? And honestly, I didn't quite know what I wanted to say, until I really got here. And, when I look out and I think back to high school and everything that I was able to do in high school, I really just think of some of the times leading up to that, like I look out and I see Clint, and I remember trying to box Clint out when I was like a 5th grader. And how much that just, that just made me want to get better and better and better. And just from those moments, giving me that competitive drive. I look out, I see Rusty, and Rusty telling me not to shoot 3-pointers. which I did. I proceeded to shoot a lot of until I got to high school. And I look out and I see Coach Pierce and Coach Dixon, and the 1 year I spent with them, and then telling me to have confidence, and I did, and that seemed to work out once I started believing in myself. And if I hadn't had that life lesson, I don't think I would have had the confidence to go up and say hello to my beautiful wife. So thank you for that one, guys. I look out, I see Mitch. It was cool to see him get inducted a couple years ago, and I think about all the passes that he threw to me in the 1 year. But we played baseball and basketball together for as long as I can remember, and shared a lot of great memories with him and his father and my father. They coached together forever and ever, and I can just remember those two just making me and Mitch practice all the time. So thank you guys for that. I see my best friend Nathan, who we've been lifelong friends, and I can remember him making this turnaround Hail Mary 3 at Eaton, and it was the coolest thing I think I've ever seen. So that was always awesome. To my teammates that are here, I thank you guys, because I wouldn't be standing here without you guys, honestly. Every sport that we played has more than just one person on it, and I just wouldn't be here without you. To the coaches, I thank you for donating your time, your effort. A lot. It takes a lot, and I thank you guys for doing that and trying to instill and put those morals and ethics into me and other people as a young adult. So I thank you for that. I think the biggest thing, of all the things that Doc mentioned that I've got to do after high school, I think the coolest thing that I've been able to do is actually come back here and spend time as a strength and conditioning coach of the young men and women of this school. I truly enjoyed coaching them the most. Of all the things that I got to do, the championships and the awards and all that stuff, none of that really compared to seeing a young man or woman see that confidence for the first time. They get it, they're like, oh, I'm good at this. And then putting it out there on the field or in the weight room or whatever it is we were doing. I think that's probably the coolest and most rewarding thing I think I've ever seen, And being able to try and show, my two kids, show some of the kids that are sitting in here today and walking the halls that, it's more about the relationships, the destination, the memories that you make along the way, the lessons that you learn. If I can get them to realize that, if I can get my kids to realize that someday, I think, I can sit down over here happily knowing that, I've done my job as a father, as a coach, a mentor, and a friend. And I just thank you all for coming, and go Dogs.
Let's have a round of applause for all former inductees today. Great job, you guys. Really good. Just one other thing I want to say. One of the most gratifying things for myself and also the members of the Hall of Fame committee is the fact that through the years, so many of the previous Hall of Famers have come back to this ceremony and mingled with everybody, and it's so great to see all of you. And I just want you to know that it means a great deal for us, me personally and everybody involved with the Hall of Fame, that you would take the time to come back and spend it with us, and we appreciate that very much. Now, a couple other things. After our invocation, these are housekeeping items. After our invocation, and then before we eat, we would like to ask that all the Hall of Famers in attendance, not only these four, but everyone who's here, we're going to go out into the lobby in front of the old basketball circle and have our picture taken this year. If anyone would want to come out and have that picture, come out with us, and we'll all kind of pose for you, and you can get your picture. Then once that is over, we'll come back in and we'll begin to go ahead through the meal line. You guys and your families can go first, and then we'll kind of follow from there. I can get to it. Dana's back there having a... This is your last chance to enter the 50-50 drawing. So if you want to enter the 50-50 drawing, see Dana while he's still seated. Also in the 50-50 drawing, if you don't win the 50-50, we're also going to award the 2 flower bouquets up here. So we'll be thinking about that too. There will be some time to take some friend and family pictures after our meal. And remember, there will be time for additional pictures out in front of the Hall of Fame display in the lobby after the ceremony in the gym between the JV and varsity games. So if you don't get the right combination of people and pictures you want, you will have time to do that out there. So just for future reference. I would also like to recognize our program sponsors. We have some really good sponsors who have been with us for a long time. I'd like to read their names and tell them how much we appreciate them donating their money to our cause. Cliff Poling, who's here tonight, Doctor of Optometry, has been a regular contributor. Thank you, Cliff. Broomboss Surveying and Engineering, D.W. Kendall Insurance, McGrath's Service Center, the Milton Union Golf Team, the Milton Union Track Club, Milton Union Football Parents, School Insurance Consultants, and Corky O'Callaghan. These individual and companies have made contributions to our Hall of Fame and help us put this on every year. We receive no financial support from the school, and we rely on fundraisers and this event to raise money for our plaques and the things that we'd like to award to our honorees. If you would like to be a donor for next year's program, see Ron Berner, see Mark Lane. They will help you accomplish that. I also want to give an extra special thanks to Mark. Our AD has helped us immensely. If you have nominations for future Hall of Famers, you can contact Mark in the athletic office. The only stipulation is they have to have graduated 10 years prior to their induction. And our next class will officially be the class of 2020. After our meal, then, if you'd like to watch the basketball game, tonight there is a JV game. It's going to start at 6:30, but it will be only 2 quarters. So we will be doing our ceremony after the second quarter of the JV game, which I anticipate to be somewhere in the neighborhood of about 7 o'clock. So if you'll, in the gym, there will be some designated seating that you and your families can sit, and then with about 5 minutes left in that second quarter, if we could kind of gather you down in the hallway, we'll get you ready and take you out of the court for the actual presentation of the plaques. And then after the presentation, we'll all go out into the lobby, and that's where you can have your picture taken with your family, and we want a picture of all the Hall of Famers, all the new Hall of Famers in front of the display, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the time to take that picture. All right. Anything else? I think that's it. Anything else, guys, Ron, anything else that we're good?
Where's the bathroom?
Bill says, where's the bathrooms? Bill, we're out in the hallway to the left. Okay.
Very good, thank you.
All right, so at this point, I'll have Scott Johnson come forward. He will give our invocation.
Let's bow our heads and give thanks. Our Heavenly Father, bless us as we gather for this banquet. We give you thanks that we are again permitted to gather in this fellowship. May our friendships be strengthened and our lives be broadened. And as we give you thanks for this food, we ask that you bless it to our bodies and our bodies to your service. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.